proof that a guy who's made a name for himself as a businessman can actually be a businessman and can transition into a successful, effective politician. Please welcome one of the great dudes out there, former New York Mayor Michael Bloomberg.
Great dude. Great dude.
I don't think anybody's called me a great dude in 75 years.
Well, you know.
We like you.
We do like you, you
We
know.
miss you.
So, as I recall, there was a point when you were not a big fan of the gentleman who's now in office as president.
No, I never said that.
Really? You didn't call him
I-
a dangerous demagogue?
I said that I thought that out of the two candidates running, he was not the one that you should vote for. You should vote for the other one, who I still had some issues with.
Right.
But
right,
I
right.
was very careful in what I said, and I meant it.
Okay, all right. Well,
But did you think he was a dangerous demagogue?
I don't think I used the word demagogue.
What about con man?
I did. That I did.
Con man. I remember that
No, look,
I'm just letting you know, Dana, I did ask the question.
let's just all hope that Donald Trump is a good president of the United States. He's our president, and we need this country to be run well. I didn't vote for him, but I think I would not make the mistake. Mitch McConnell said when Barack Obama was elected, let's make him a one-term president.
Yeah.
Let's not make this work. And I thought, that's our country. That's my kids and my grandkids. We have to make it work. You have an election. Whoever wins, then we got to get behind and work. And you can run against somebody else. But the difference between America and some other countries, in other countries, if they lose an election, they try to tear down the government. They try to have a revolution. We should sit back and say, okay, 4 years from now, how do I get my person, my woman, or my man elected? And that's very different.
Well, wait a second. That doesn't mean that with all the crazy stuff that's going on in this administration, that you should not have a strong resistance.
No, and I think if you disagree,
There's
you
a
should...
difference between tearing
go-
down and resisting.
You should go out there, you can protest, you can
Right,
elect
okay.
other officials,
Right.
you can write letters, you can make phone calls, you can carry signs,
Yeah.
you can do all that. But in the end, we're a democracy. The public has spoken, whether you like the results or
Yeah.
not. And other than with a little help from the Russians, he was elected.
Looking forward, I mean, Ossoff's lost last night in the 6th District of Georgia. What can Democrats do differently in terms of messaging, just in terms of, I don't know.
Well, I
what
think
can
you've
we
got
do
to
differently?
understand, local elections are local, and generally they revolve around local issues, a school bus or a roof on a YMCA, or whether you can use bicycles on the sidewalks and things like that.
You should be able
And
to
then,
do that.
Okay, but whether I don't happen to agree with you, but but I will defend your right to be wrong. Trust me, I'll do that. But I think you got to be careful in not reading too much into this election. Although I will say one thing. Maybe it shows that all the money in the world can't buy an election. That we focus on money. Why? Because there's a lot of people who make money, the advertisers, the stations, news stations, television stations, whatever. But the public is a lot smarter than people give them credit for. And they look and they see and they decide. And Donald Trump showed you can get elected president of the United States without spending a lot of money. I don't know whether he spent any money of his own.
He got a
I don't
lot of
think
free
so.
advertising. No, let's not even talk
He
about
got a lot
that.
of free advertising because he said things that the newspapers and television stations thought the public wanted to hear. The press is very democratic. They give you what you ask for, and if you want embarrassment and failure and scandal and sensationalism, that's what you're going to get.
Right.
And if you don't, they know because you stop watching or you stop reading, and they'll change.
Right. Yeah.
And Donald Trump had a message. I thought, when I was listening to you backstage, make America great again.
Yeah.
And it I don't know what the again means, because we're better today than we've ever been. Still,
Yes.
that's the truth.
Let me get to your point before we run out of time. Your point. Because a lot of people are very upset that Trump is pulling out of the Paris Accord. You are one of them.
Yes.
You have defied the president by personally pledging $15 million, a drop in the bucket for you. Right?
Real money.
Put a few more. So what do you think? Why is this so important to you?
Well, keep in mind, America is halfway towards meeting the goals that we agreed to already, and we still have 8 years to get the other half done, so we're going to get it done. It was not done with any real help from the Obama administration, and it's certainly not going to be done with any help from the Trump administration. It was done by private citizens, buying more efficient more efficient cars, by painting their roofs white so it reflects heat off the sun. It's done by corporations putting up solar panels and stopping polluting. It was done by a lot of people getting behind and helping with the economics, close coal-fired power plants, so we're putting a lot less crap in the air. That was what was done, and that's going to continue. And the U.S. government is still a participant in this, even if Donald wants to drop out for the next 4 years. That's just the way the deal works.
Good to know.
During that 4 years, I assume they will pay the $15 million, which we owe as our share of supporting the organization that keeps score. And I said, if they reneged, and we're not a country that should renege on, particularly on $15 million or anything, I said, well, I'll give up the money. I'll give the money if you needed it, but I don't think you're going to have to do that. I assume the American government's going to pay what it committed to pay, even if it doesn't like it. You make a commitment, you live with it.
You stick with it. Yeah. Now, saving the environment is your primary focus right now. You've done such incredible work with common sense gun control and reform, but you have a new documentary called From the Ashes.
Yes.
And it looks at the coal industry.
Yes.
Now, do you believe that President Trump will be able to bring back the jobs that he promised American coal workers?
There is no chance. The jobs that are in the coal industry, most of them will continue to go away the way they've been doing it. Today, there's only 50,000 people working in coal. Only 15,000 of those are miners. In 1980, there were 250,000. Back in the 20s, there were 800,000. What's happened here is two things. One, people are using less coal because it's the most polluting thing you can do. And what's happened also is renewables, solar and wind, as well as natural gas, have become cheaper. So people are buying other ways to generate electricity rather than coal. So the demand is going down. The other thing is technology has automated the way they dig up coal. And that's happening in the retail business. It's happening in the news business. It's happening everywhere. And so we've got to find some ways to create jobs for people going forward, because a lot of the jobs they have now just aren't going to exist, and that's certainly true of the coal miners' jobs. And one of the things Bloomberg Philanthropies is working on, we're trying to support 3 organizations which retrain coal miners to other jobs. Unfortunately, in the president's proposed budget, which probably will be modified before it gets adopted, he takes away money from one of those organizations.
Really?
But nevertheless, the important thing is not what Donald Trump does. The important thing is what we all do. We have to find ways to create jobs, and everybody in this room, everybody watching, the industries that you're working in are going to downsize because of technology, which means you're going to get better products at lower prices, but the jobs are going away, and we've got to find ways to create jobs. And it's better education. It's letting people come from around the world and start businesses here. We need more global trade if you want more jobs.
You sound like you have, I'm listening to this, and you sound like you have a political platform for president that you're launching right now. And you thought about running against Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump. Is that a possibility?
The only presidency I'm thinking about running about is my block association. Been there, done that.
He's the only Republican I've ever voted for is Michael Bloomberg.
You sound like
I wasn't even a Republican.
Yes, you were.
You sound like,
Yes, you
I think
were.
one of the issues with politicians right now is that there's a lot of slogans and not a lot of actual action, where you're talking about transitions of jobs from coal to other industries. These are things that people want to hear. So
Well, they want to hear, but they want to see it done.
That's
You're
right.
right.
That's
Action
right.
is- And so we've got to find ways to do it and go and implement, and that's where I'm spending my time trying to do it. And I take all the profits from my company and put it into the foundation. The foundation's going out and doing these kinds of things. Can't do everything.
trust
And
the
keep
free-
doing that,
do you-
because he's making a bigger difference than most
Yeah.
politicians.
I don't know about that, but
Do you trust the free market ultimately to fix some of these things, like the coal, the transition to clean
I
energy?
think there's
Do you
no
trust-
question that capitalism is the economic model that works. Socialism did not work. The trouble is we've got to make sure that capitalism includes everybody and not just some people. But in the end, if you want jobs, you have to have...
But it has to include everyone.
You have to try to include everyone. I don't think you can ever get there, but we have to keep working and not give up. And if sometimes things you try fail, you got to come back with other ideas to keep doing that.
That's right. And that is the real message. Michael Bloomberg. We thank you.
Thank you.
From the Ashes premieres this Sunday on National Geographic Channel. Check your local listings for time. And members of our audience, you're all going to get this book, okay? You're all getting